Hello, I'm John Tunison, the new CFO of Soluna, and today I'd like to walk you through our annual earnings power presentation. This is how we update you each year on how we've done over the last year and where we're focused for the next year. And most importantly, give you a sense of what that means financially. I've got a lot of exciting content to share, so let's dive right in. First, some disclaimers. The following content is completely qualified by the legal disclosures on the following slide. Our goal is to share with you some of our strategic thinking and financial analysis that we're using to guide the growth of our business. The content is in line with our principles of being accountable and transparent with shareholders. We operate in a hyper-dynamic economic environment. That's really a fancy way of saying things can change and do change quickly. What we're telling you here is based on our estimates and assumptions, which are our best guess. We reserve the right to revise our point of view based on new information and changes in the business environment. Despite an uncertain, dynamic environment, we must plan and make operating and investment decisions. This presentation lays out some of that for your review. As I talk about our 2024 earnings power, I think it's first important to review what our focus areas are. And you've heard our CEO, John Belizaire, talk about these in the past on several occasions, but I think it's a great idea to review these with you now. The four key pillars of our 2024 corporate focus are launch AI, optimize our projects, finance our projects, and grow our pipeline. Let me go into some more detail on each of those for you. First of all, launching AI. This is the launch of Soluna Cloud. We've taken a couple of important steps that we've announced. Let me review those for you. First of all, we deployed an AI customer into our project Sophie. Second of all, we just announced a strategic partnership with a large global high-performance compute player where we've secured access to 512 H100 GPUs, which we're now marketing to globally important strategic AI customers. Third, we continue to progress our Helix built on purpose for AI data center model and look forward to being able to deploy that, including at Project Dorothy 2, where we've earmarked 2 megawatts of that project specifically for that, and we look forward to deploying at additional projects in the future. Optimizing projects. This really boils down to two things. Meet and exceed our customer expectations and deliver excellent operational performance, and at the same time, deliver excellent financial performance. And we're doing quite well on both of those. I'll share a point of feedback that we got from one of our hosting customers. I think this exemplifies how we're doing in this space in general. They were asked, "How's Soluna doing?" And without any hesitation, what they said was, "You're the best hoster out there. If we could host all of our operations with you, we would. We look forward to you growing so that we can do that together." I think that's a strong endorsement. I think that speaks to the quality of our operations and the specific efforts that we've put into recruiting the best talent, training, and operating discipline out at our sites. The second thing is financial performance. We just released our Q1 results. You can see the financial trajectory as we brought Dorothy fully online. The financial results speak for themselves. They're growing, and quarter over quarter, we have set financial records, and we continue to focus and have discipline around our cost structure while still delivering, again, that customer service excellence. So we're making a lot of progress there. Financing our projects. We just announced that we secured the financing for Project Dorothy 2. Excited to again partner with our strategic partner, Springline Capital, on that. And we continue to work towards financing of future projects and look forward to announcing those as we go. Speaking of our future projects, as you know, we have Project Sophie, which is about 25 megawatts. We have Project Dorothy 1A and B, which together is another 48 megawatts. And Dorothy 2 that we just announced will double the size of Dorothy by adding another 48 megawatts plus 2 megawatts of AI. But additionally, we have Project Kati coming and other projects. In total, we have 2 gigawatts in the pipeline, but we look to be able to at least double our assets under management to 150 megawatts by the end of the year. Before I jump into explaining our projections for earnings potential, I want to first review a couple of the key assumptions that went into our modeling that you're going to see on the next couple of slides. First of all, we're going to show you 2 cases. There's a base case and an upside case, where the base case uses $45 hash price post-halving, and the upside case uses $65 post-halving. Just to give you some context, as I'm recording this right now, our hash price is hovering around $55. Recently, since halving, it's hovered between 45 and 55. We think this is a reasonable assumption for a base and an upside, where the base case of 45 seems sustainable by what we're seeing in the market today, and the upside case could materialize if, say, Bitcoin were to reach 100,000. And we think that that's a reasonable way to look at the upside. The second thing is the modeling that we've done includes only our current projects and sources of revenue, except we have added Project Dorothy 2 in, and it is modeled as we expect initial energization at the end of this year and to be fully ramped up by July of 2025. And although we haven't contracted with our hosting customers yet, we do expect those to be materially similar to what we have achieved and have in place in Dorothy 1A. At Project Sophie, we're assuming hash rate and energy improvements in 2025 because we're going to be turning over some of our customers and or they will be upgrading their equipment, which will improve the quality of the operations there, and you'll see that reflected in the financials. We've assumed no refresh of equipment at Dorothy 1B, and we've assumed continued demand response revenues that are in line with and similar to what we achieved at the end of 2023. And we have not included any revenue from Soluna Cloud or our AI business. So as I now jump into the earnings potential, specifically the base case, I also want to point out that there are some notes on this slide. I'm not going to review those in detail, but I wanted to take a moment to let you know that you should be able to download a PDF of this, and I encourage you to do so if you want to further understand some of the additional assumptions that have gone in. But building from the assumptions that I just reviewed in the last slide, I wanted to share a couple of key takeaways that you see in the numbers. First of all, obviously having occurred and the sky didn't fall, I told you that we're currently hovering around $55 hash price, and we've seen it float between 45 and 55 since halving, and we think that that's a very reasonable base case assumption. The second thing is look at our projects post-halving. They continue to be and will continue to be very profitable projects. And this underscores another point, which is Soluna's results will not be linear as we add future projects. That's a key takeaway. We need to continue to deliver projects, and we will continue to deliver projects, and you'll see that scale up our financial results proportionally. And you can see that with the impact of Project Dorothy 2 and what that does to both the revenue and the EBITDA. So what do the numbers actually say? Well, in 2024, we're expecting to deliver $38 million of revenue and $7.5 million of EBITDA. And by 2026, that will grow to $67 million of revenue and $20 million of EBITDA. A very profitable business. So what happens if hash price were to go up another $20? And by the way, this is a question we receive a lot. what is the actual impact or sensitivity of Soluna's earnings to Bitcoin price and by proxy hash price. And I think you could use this as a good way to see what a $20 change in hash price does to our underlying earnings and revenue. So for example, instead of 38 million of revenue, we would deliver 43 million this year. And instead of 7.5 million of EBITDA, we would deliver 12.7 million of EBITDA. And similarly for 2026, instead of 67 million, we deliver 76 million of revenue. And instead of 20 million, we deliver 28 million of EBITDA. I'd now like to walk through a company overview of Soluna. Specifically, I'm going to talk to you about different aspects of our business, how we run, how we make money, why customers and partners choose Soluna, talk to you a little bit about the Soluna way, talk to you about convergence and where we sit in the middle of exciting convergence of technologies. I'll talk to you about AI and why we're so excited about it, and some of the challenges in AI that we're solving and will be helping to solve. I'll share with you parts of the AI value chain that we think we're ideally suited for and those that we aren't. I'll refresh you on the Helix strategy and model. So what does Soluna do? Well, in a nutshell, we develop co-located data centers at renewable power plants, and we take their curtailed or wasted energy and we turn it into sustainable computing. So how does Soluna make money? Always an interesting thing for the CFO, of course. 4 ways. First, there's proprietary Bitcoin mining. So this is, for example, what you see at Dorothy 1B, where we and a JV partner own and operate the Bitcoin mining equipment and mine the Bitcoin. The second way is hosting for Bitcoin miners. This is what you see at Dorothy 1A, as well as at Sophie. And this is where we host other Bitcoin miners who put their equipment into our facility that we then operate for them. The third source, which we recently completed our first block of, is the grid ancillary services. And this is where we act as a flexible load behind the meter and are compensated for that by the grid operator, which we just did at Project Dorothy under ERCOT. The fourth way is AI, the Soluna Cloud. And this could be where Soluna owns, or it could be where we host high-performance computing assets in our data centers, similar to the 2 ways that we handle Bitcoin. Now, why Soluna for both our customers and our partners? Well, it's 4 key pillars of expertise that we have. First is our project development. We know how to bring modular data center projects on site at renewable projects to fruition. We've done it, we continue to do it, and we have expertise there. The second one is energy markets. We understand them. We understand the curtailment problems at renewable energy projects. We understand how to find those opportunities, how to work with power producers, and how to structure the agreements and lower the cost of energy while maximizing the benefits to the renewable operator in a symbiotic relationship. The third thing is computing technology, both our understanding of our customers' computing technologies, but also our own operating system called Maestro OS, which we use to optimize how we operate and which is an enabler for us to achieve our great operational uptimes and meet all of our customers' expectations and exceed them. And the fourth pillar is project finance. These projects can be complicated. They require upfront capital, and we are experienced at delivering innovative and effective project financing solutions and continue to do that. The Soluna way, what is it? Well, first, we have a fundamental belief that renewable energy can be made into a superpower. And this is kind of how we approach doing that in several steps. The first step is we source low-cost curtailed power from the power producers. We find it and we bring it to bear on our data center projects, which we build, own, and operate with a 2-year return on capital investment. By doing this, we're able to attract hosting customers in both high-performance computing and Bitcoin, and it enables us to generate additional revenues by providing ancillary services to the grid, and that enables the financial results which help us to grow our assets under management and deliver incrementally improving EBITDA year over year over our fixed costs. And that in turn helps us to grow our project pipeline and continue in a virtuous cycle. One of my favorite talks that our CEO, John Belizaire, has given recently dealt with convergence. If you haven't watched that video, look for it out on our YouTube. It's great how he talks about moments in history where two different problems or technologies were brought together in a novel way to create this convergence impact, where together you actually create a new product. You solve a problem in a new way. We're really at a moment like that, and we believe that renewable computing is that convergence of renewable energy waste problem and the lack of sustainable power sourcing for high performance computing and other high energy demand computing applications. When you put those two together, and I don't mean just connect it via wire, but I mean think outside the box and put your data center together with that renewable project, you achieve something new. And that's what we're doing. We're driving that convergence. Have you heard of Moore's Law, where processor speeds double every couple of years? Well, AI is doubling every 6 months. What I take away from this chart is the amount of uptake of AI is staggering, and we're just scratching the surface. AI is by far and away the fastest growing technology that we've ever seen. Just look at this. A mere 25 years ago, Netflix took 3.5 years to get its first million customers. ChatGPT did it in literally 5 days. And you're only going to see these numbers grow. And the number of models that are coming out and the uptake of these models, and most importantly, the compute power needed for them, the energy requirements, is continuing to grow exponentially, which is why Soluna is very excited about the AI space. So I just talked about the exponential growth in AI and uptake, but I also want to talk about some of the hidden challenges of AI, one of which gets quite a bit of attention and a couple of which don't necessarily. First of all, AI is hungry. I mean, it needs a lot of power. There are some that estimate that within a couple of years, AI will exceed 20 to 30 gigawatts or more of total electric load. That is a staggering amount of electricity. Where's that electricity coming from? Generally speaking, pretty dirty sources. Today, data centers, traditional data centers, are responsible for 2% of overall US greenhouse gas emissions. That number is only going to continue to grow. If you look at GPT-3, Gopher, Bloom, OPT, they combine with over 900 tons of carbon emissions between them. And the newer models, the bigger models, that problem's only going to compound as the rate at which energy for AI use needs to expand outstrips the pace of viable renewable sources because of how traditional data centers built at hyperscale work with the grids. Now, the third thing that doesn't get a lot of attention is AI is very, very thirsty. Traditional data centers and the traditional architecture that these AI processes are running in use a lot of water. Typically, evaporative cooling is the answer. For example, Microsoft used the equivalent of 2.8 million glasses of water to train that's another area of opportunity that Soluna sees. To underscore why we think that, one of our favorite quotes is from Alexandra Lucioni at Hugging Face, and I'll quote, "Using renewable energy grids for training neural networks is the single biggest change that can be made. It can make emissions vary by a factor of 40 between a fully renewable grid and a full coal grid." The opportunity for Soluna is here. The life cycle of AI has 3 phases. First, there's training, where you're actually building the model. Then there's fine-tuning, where you're refining and updating and customizing the model. And then there's inferencing, which is where you're using the model to answer live queries. Because of our locations co-located with renewable power plants, batchable compute processes are ideal for a Soluna data center, whereas real-time processes are not. So our ideal customers will be heavily engaged in the training and fine-tuning of models and may not choose to host their inferencing loads at our data centers. So what is our solution for the AI Soluna Cloud? In a word, it's our Helix model. Our strategy is purpose-built for AI on-site at renewable power projects. Because we're behind the meter, we can operate flexibly, drawing low-cost energy, and this gives us a scalable, green, plug-and-play data center model that will have industry-leading metrics. And this is what we're looking to deploy in Project Dorothy 2 and future projects. And let me remind you, we actively have over 2 gigawatts in our pipeline of available projects that we will be looking to execute against in the coming years. I'll now move into the last part of the presentation where I want to cover some of our operational highlights. Essentially, I'll break down at a company level some of our key metrics, and then I'll talk about each of our operating projects, and then I'll walk you through our project pipeline. Key Soluna level operating metrics. We currently manage 75 megawatts, that is 25 megawatts at Project Sophie and 50 megawatts at Project Dorothy 1A and 1B. That'll be growing to just under 300 megawatts as we bring additional 50 megawatts online at Dorothy 2 and 166 megawatts at Project Kati. We currently have 2.5 exahash installed across our projects operating now, and again, that's a mix of proprietary and hosted Bitcoin mining equipment. Our average power cost achieved is less than $29 per megawatt hour. And I should note these numbers are either first quarter averages or end of the quarter in the case of the exahash, for example. Total to date curtailed energy monetized, 56,145 megawatt hours. Our power usage effectiveness, or PUE, is currently at 1.03. We have about 24,000 Bitcoin miners deployed, and we're averaging about 26 joules per terahash per second at our projects. At Project Dorothy 1A, which we own together with our partner Spring Lane Capital and hosts Bitcoin companies, it's a 25 megawatt facility. We have 949 petahash per second installed hash rate, a PUE, or power usage effectiveness factor, of 1.03, and an average cost of energy of about $28 per megawatt hour. And of course, this is co-located with a large wind farm project. Total curtailed energy consumed at the project to date, 27,112 megawatt hours. At Project Dorothy 1B, also 25 megawatts, but proprietary mining together with our partner Navitas Global. We have an installed hash rate of 817 petahash. We have a PUE of 1.03 and the average cost of energy of about $28 per megawatt hour, and we have used a total of 26,128 megawatt hours of energy. At Project Sophie, where we do not have a partner and we host Bitcoin miners, again, it is 25 megawatts of capacity where we have 778 petahash installed hash rate, a PUE of 1.03, an average cost of energy of about $31, and the power source, of course, is hydro and grid power. Now I'll move into the projects that we have in development. Specifically, I'll give more information about Dorothy 2 and Kati, and then I'll also finish with overall description of the pipeline. Project Dorothy 2 will double the size of the Dorothy site, adding another 50 megawatts. It's, of course, powered by wind. Its current stage is design and planning. We've just announced that we've secured the financing for it, and we should be moving forward and look forward to announcing further details here in the near future. It will be a mix of hosting and AI. As I've alluded to, we've reserved 2 gigawatts of capacity for the Helix deployment of AI, and we expect the annual cost to be in line, of course, with what we've achieved at Dorothy 1 and A and B at about $27 per megawatt hour. Kati, also located in Texas, will have a capacity of 166 megawatts and will be our largest project. We expect to build it in a couple of phases. It will be co-located at a wind project, and it is currently in development. We expect the annual average cost of energy to be about $30 per megawatt hour. So I've shown you the currently operating projects. I talked about the expansion of Dorothy and Project Kati. And again, to underscore, we do have an additional 2 gigawatt plus of long-term, high-quality pipeline with large power producers and infrastructure funds. And we look forward to announcing more details about that in the coming months. In the next slide, we show you some additional details about our projects. I'm not going to walk through those in detail, but please do download our presentation, which I encourage you to look through, and you can review that slide when you'd like to. And as always, I want to remind you, we're active in social media. We look forward to connecting with you and telling our story, and we make frequent posts and announcements, and we think there's a lot of good content that you might be interested in. So please do check us out on X, formerly known as Twitter. Check out our LinkedIn page, and of course, subscribe and look at our newsletter. And of course, you've already found our YouTube channel, but we put lots of interesting content out there as well. It's been my pleasure presenting to you today. Thank you, and I look forward to more opportunities to engage with you. And as always, we welcome any questions that you have. Please reach out. And don't forget to visit our website at Soluna Computing, where you can find lots of links to information about the company, including all of our publicly announced financial information and any other information that you might be interested in. Thank you.